The Matrix of Time. This one will deal with time and human consciousness and should be an interesting set of videos. Here are some of the topics we'll look into in this series. 1. We'll look into how we experience time and space physically and via our consciousness. 2. Our relationship to time, the past, the future, and the now. 3. We'll review 2 states of matter. More details of these can be seen in the first series that I did, which has 8 introductory videos on the Matrix of Time. I recommend that you go through that. It probably give you a better understanding about time because there's certain details that I just don't have enough time to go into in this series. 4, we'll evaluate 2 states of being human. 5, I'll propose a hypothesis that we are quantum beings. 6, we will look at how we are integrated with the universe. 7, we'll explore this hypothesis of us being quantum beings. 8, we'll discuss our bridge to multidimensionality. And finally, we'll look at how we as humans live in time and in space. And this video that you're watching right now is called Where Are You? So let's start. We begin with our familiar perception of space and ask the question, where are you? In this slide, we can see that there's a house with 2 people. They can't see each other, and one of them calls out, "Where are you?" And the other person responds, "In the kitchen." And because we understand our location in space so well and everybody else's location relative to us, it's easy for us to negotiate space and move from where we are to the kitchen to meet this other person. So now let's ask the same question, where are you, with a different perspective. We ask that from a person that's standing in front of us, where are you in your body? And we might get a couple of different answers. First answer, the person might point to their head. Another answer is they might point to their chest or their heart. A third answer is they might say, well, I'm all over my body. And the fourth answer might be they have no idea, which is quite common. So it's kind of interesting that one of the most critical questions we have as humans, where are we inside our body, cannot be answered with any real clarity. Now, why is that? Here I combine space and time and how it relates to human perception. This one I call same space, different time. And the example here is a bunch of students that are in a class, attending a lecture. Let's say that it's 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock Friday afternoon. And if we could read their thoughts, we would find that there would be a distribution of where the attention would be. So let's take the person in the front seat, obviously, or the front row. Obviously, they're paying attention. The teacher, the professor is in the now, is creating the now moments with the lecture. The students in front are paying attention, so they're in the now. The student behind is thinking about what's coming up this weekend, so they're in the future frame of reference. The one behind them was thinking about what happened last weekend, so they're in the past. The student behind is thinking about what they're planning for tonight, and the person behind them is thinking about something that happened yesterday. So we have everybody in the same place, everybody in a classroom attending a lecture, but they're all consciously in very different time constructs. Yeah, different places in the construct of past or present and future. Now, what about, maybe we could call it the conjugate of that, where we have same time, different places. And in this one, I'm going to use the example of, let's call it the World Cup soccer match. The final is being played, and on top you can see that this is being played and there's a particular time that this event is taking place. And on the right-hand side, we can see that people all over the world, in vastly different places, separated by tens of thousands of miles in some cases, are all looking at the same match that's happening at exactly the same time. So now we have same time, but vastly distributed in different places in space. So I use these 2 examples just to sort of get this idea of how space and time can interact, and from a human perception point of view, how you can be in the same place but vastly different times, and how you can be in the same time but vastly different places. So let's explore this one last time. In this case, we'll use the experience of waiting in line, which is a pretty universal experience. And here we have 4 people who are waiting in line to, let's say, some government agency. And let's look at what they're thinking, their consciousness. One of them says, "I'm glad I got you early." The other one says, "Can't these idiots move faster?" The third one saying, "This waiting is making me angry." And the fourth one is, "Thank goodness I have the money to afford this." So all of these people are in the same place, but very different places in consciousness, which I'll later hypothesize is in time. So here we're going to go through a process of 2 descriptions of you. The first one is the physical attributes, and these attributes can be pretty precise. When we go to describe your external physical attributes, it's pretty easy. We've got a couple of categories. We can describe you as male or female. We can describe your height and stature, hair color and style, eye color, the sound of our voice, ethnicity, and the way we dress, whether we are a sharp dresser or could care less. So as I say, we can be very precise in these attributes that belong to the physical part of you. Now the other part of the description of you is your conscious attributes. And these I'm going to describe as vague attributes, and I'll explain why. If we had to describe the internal attributes of you, we'd find that it's quite difficult. We often use broad categories such as happy, easygoing, sad. Let's just take the attribute of happy. How happiness is expressed is very different from person to person and from culture to culture. And so it's not an exact attribute that is the same for everybody. Psychology has lots of studies that define how people with certain internal mental and emotional attributes respond to events in life. What psychologists are not able to do easily is define how well you fit within those mental and emotional attributes. To find a match, they ask questions or give tests with many questions, each designed to probe your psychological makeup and bypass your defense mechanisms. Some of these mechanisms you might not even be aware of. Let's discuss 2 experiences of time. We have one experience of time in the universe outside of ourselves, and another experience of time is in the universe within ourselves. When we look at the experience of time outside of ourselves, it's very precise. Time in the universe is very linear and easy to get others to agree upon. It is based on planetary rotations. Inside of us, though, time is very vague. Our experience of time internally is very complicated. It slows down, speeds up, often many times in one day, depending on our internal states, depending on whether we're happy, we're sad, we're bored, whether we're waiting for something terrible, or waiting for something that we're excited about. All influences how we experience time. So that's very interesting that our internal and external experiences of time are so different. So, what about music and time? Music is a complex mathematical relationship of time. And let's look into that. It's built up of periods of time to create frequencies, which is 1 over time. It's also built up of chords, which are ratios of the periods, and the beat is the timing of all of these timing components. So music has a definable mathematical structure based in time, but music also deeply affects our consciousness through our emotions. So it is clear we have a special relationship to time via our consciousness. So what about patterns generated by time? Here we discuss time in the form of frequencies, which is 1 over time. And these 6 examples are what are called Chladni patterns. And basically what I had is a metal plate with some very fine sand grains on it. And I drove a coil with different frequencies, and these patterns emerged. So we can clearly see that time is able to create these beautiful patterns. So another technique called cymatics is where time is used to generate 3D forms. And here, different solutions are embedded with different particles, and frequencies are directed into the solution. And these very interesting patterns emerge from the material, from these solutions based on the frequencies. So clearly time is able to generate form as well. So takeaway messages. Our location in space is easy to define. There is no agreement on the location of our consciousness, however. Our perception of what is going on in the exact same location depends solely on what is going on in our consciousness. We feel aligned in consciousness when we experience the same event, even though we might be in different locations on the globe. A simple act of waiting in line has vastly different experiences depending on our consciousness. Physical attributes can be described precisely. Attributes related to our consciousness have very vague descriptions. We have two very different experiences of time, externally and internally. Music, a time experience, deeply affects our consciousness. Time, in the form of frequencies, can generate all sorts of patterns and forms in matter. In the next video of the series, we'll explore more about our relationship to time. I hope you'll join me. If you want to hear more of these Matrix of Time videos, please subscribe below to be notified of new presentations. You can also go to my website, www.multidimensionaltime.com, and there you'll see that there's a book available. There's also some technical white papers, and all the links to my videos that are available on my YouTube channel can be found on my website. Okay, thank you very much.